Hello friends, so we'll be continuing our series on FUT versus FUE where we try to find out the most appropriate solution for your baldness problem. So the topic for today's discussion is scarring. Scarring is such an important issue which actually scares a lot of patients. Probably you won't like to have hair at the cost of having big scars over the back of your head. Let's discuss this issue in details. So most of the people have this opinion that FUE is a scarless surgery, while in FUT you have a big scar at the back of your head. That is the way things are being propagated. And let me tell you one fact, that if somebody is not using a particular technique, you might not get the correct facts about that technique from that person. Let's try to understand this with the help of some cases. So look at this picture. This is a case of FUT around 4-5 months post-op. And in the donor area, you don't see any scar whatsoever. Another case, no scar whatsoever. You don't see anything. It is practically invisible. Another video, if you see this patient, there is hardly any scarring and the donor density is absolutely untouched, the area above and below. So in all these cases, FUT surgery was done. The secret of healing of FUT is a special technique called trichophytic closure, where we cut the epithelial surface of one of the edges of the wound so that hair grow through the scar tissue. Now let's see some cases of FUE. You can see there are wounds created at the back of head while doing the FUE procedure, and when it heals there are gaps and scars left behind. As you can see in this case, there are a lot of small white dots. Now this patient cannot roam around having shaved off his head because the donor area looks horrible. So it is not a scarless surgery, unlike the popular myth or belief. When we do a second time extraction from the same donor area, FUE can really devastate the donor area completely. As you can see in this case, after 2 FUE extractions, the donor area is completely gone. There is hardly anything left there. So second time extraction of FUE from the same donor area can really devastate the donor area completely. As you can see in this patient, there is hardly anything left. It happens because the angles of the existing hair which you will be targeting for the next FUE, they change when after extraction of one FUE. There is scarring underneath the skin and the angles change. So the graft, when we try to extract, it gets cut, and because of transaction there is a lot of wastage. You get a very few number of grafts from second FUE as compared to the first, and it doesn't solve your purpose. It doesn't give you density over hair, and the area in this portion is also gone completely. So a lot of patients come to me for hair transplant repair, and most of them have undergone an FUE surgery earlier, maybe twice or even thrice. It is really very sad to see this, but we have to deal with such cases. So in these patients, I do an FUT surgery because FUE is just impossible. If I show you, this is Rahul. If you see his case, his donor was like completely gone after 2 FUE surgeries, and we did an FUT from the depleted donor, and if you take a look, the donor scar of FUT is barely visible. A lot of videos show that FUE donor looks very good and you don't see any depletion over there. In fact, many people think that hair come back after FUE extraction. That's not the case. So if you see this patient, Sandeep, he had, we extracted around 2500 grafts by FUE method, and if you see the combing video, there is hardly any lack of density or depletion you see in the donor area, because he had excellent donor area, excellent. Not everybody has that kind of donor area. For example, see another patient in this video. If you take a look, we extracted around 2000 grafts by FUE, and the donor area looks so much depleted. So you are not the YouTube guy whose video you saw who had excellent donor. You might be having a very thin and weak donor. So everything depends on individual to individual. Not in every patient we recommend FUT surgery, because if the skin is tight over here, we won't be able to stitch it without strain. So in those patients we cannot do FUT surgery. Now, if you look at the donor area of this patient, like we did 3800 FUT grafts, and if you take a look at the other patient, 2000 FUE grafts, just look at the donor. On FUT side, there is no depletion of density. The density is absolutely same, and because of trichophytic closure, you don't see any scar. On FUE side, there is a lot of depletion of donor area. Another advantage with FUT is we can repeat this surgery after say 5 to 6 months of the first surgery, first FUT. In second FUT, we can include the scar of previous surgery, and we can end up having just one single fine scar, as we did in this patient. Even the first surgery scar is hardly visible, and after second surgery, if you see, there is hardly any scarring, and the donor area above and below remains absolutely untouched without any depletion in donor density whatsoever. This is really very important. We cannot do this in FUE, because in FUE the donor size, the area size remains same. We create some empty bald spots by picking up the grafts, while in FUT you close that gap, you take the strip out and close the gap, so you end up having just one line and the area above and below remains absolutely untouched. Now that's a big advantage, and especially these things become important when we are dealing with a high grade of baldness. It is really sad when I see a lot of patients with grade 6, grade 7 coming to me for repair hair transplant. Already they have undergone 1, 2 or 3 FUE surgeries from the scalp. The donor is absolutely devastated. There is hardly anything left to do. So I appeal to you that please understand the differences between the two methods. Don't get scared because of few wrong facts. FUE is a wonderful surgery. Even I have got an FUE done in my scar tissue over here and in my eyebrow over here. But in my case it was indicated. So we do a lot of body hair transplants, we do beard, but when we are doing scalp FUE, we have to ensure that we utilize the donor area which is fixed and limited to its maximum. A lot of times people make things happen or influence your decision based on two facts. One is fear and second is greed. That's the rule of business. Like a lot of people who are into business, they know this. Do you know the two oldest businesses in this world? Politics and religion. Both of them utilize this fear and greed, and they have been using it since ages. So transplant is no exception. Usually people make you scared of scars and things like that, and at times you get cheap offers or discounts, low cost transplants, which actually cost you a lot, which you don't realize in the beginning. Hair transplant is such a wonderful procedure. It can completely transform your looks, your personality, your subconscious mind state, and you as a soul. So don't waste this opportunity. Take your decision wisely based on facts, and you can change your life. So if you like the video, please press the like button. For more such information, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I have another channel on YouTube where we talk about life. There is some music, guided meditations, and a lot of motivational stuff on that channel. So you can subscribe to that channel as well. The link is given here. Thank you. Love yourself. Stay blessed.